The Krell warship materialized above Earth's atmosphere like a dark omen, its obsidian hull stretching for miles across the sky. Within hours, every screen on the planet broadcast the same message. Surrender 1,000 humans for immediate termination, or face planetary annihilation. The Krell Empire had conquered 47 worlds using this exact strategy, demanding blood tributes to break the spirit of resistance before invasion. Flynn Martinez sat in the emergency UN Security Council meeting, his fingers drumming against the table. As humanity's chief diplomatic strategist, he'd spent 15 years preparing for first contact. This wasn't how he'd imagined it would go. "They want sacrifices," the Secretary General said, her voice hollow. "We need volunteers," someone suggested weakly. Nala Chen's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. The young xenolinguist had been the first to fully translate the Krell ultimatum, and she'd noticed something everyone else had missed. She stood, her dark eyes blazing with an idea that was either brilliant or insane. "They didn't specify how the humans had to die." Flynn's eyes met hers across the room. He saw it immediately, the loophole, the technicality, the very human solution to an alien problem. A slow smile spread across his face. 12 hours later, Flynn stood in the teleportation bay with exactly 1,000 volunteers. But these weren't soldiers or condemned criminals. They were lawyers, every single one of them. Patent attorneys, tax specialists, divorce lawyers, corporate litigation experts, and one particularly enthusiastic maritime law professor who'd brought a briefcase full of precedents. "Remember," Flynn addressed them, "you're not going there to die." Nala stood beside him, tablet in hand, reviewing the Krell legal database she'd hacked during the night. Their entire empire is built on rigid protocols and ancient laws. They've conquered dozens of species, but they've never encountered humans before. The lead attorney, a silver-haired woman named Patricia Goldstein, adjusted her glasses. "I once kept a corporate merger tied up in litigation for 8 years." The 1,000 attorneys materialized aboard the Krell command ship in a blaze of light. The alien commander, war leader Thaxon, watched from his throne as the humans appeared in the sacrificial chamber, a vast arena designed to broadcast executions across the empire. "Humans," Thaxon's voice boomed through translation devices, "you have been selected for sacrifice." Patricia Goldstein stepped forward, opening her briefcase with a calm that unsettled the war leader. Thaxon's 3 eyes narrowed. "There are no terms." "Actually," Patricia continued, pulling out a tablet, "according to Krell Imperial Decree 4721, which I believe is still in effect, any sentient being brought aboard a Krell vessel has the right to invoke the hearing of grievances before execution." Silence filled the chamber. The Krell legal advisors scrambled through their databases. It was an ancient law, one designed millennia ago when the Empire was young and cared about justice. No species had invoked it in 3,000 years. "The law exists," one advisor admitted reluctantly. "Excellent," Patricia said. "I hereby invoke it on behalf of all 1,000 humans present." Back on Earth, Flynn and Nala watched the live feed that the lawyers had secretly established. The UN chamber erupted in confused chatter. The Secretary General demanded. Nala smiled. "They're lawyering." On the Krell ship, the flood began. 999 attorneys simultaneously filed individual grievances, each one meticulously crafted to exploit different aspects of Krell law. They challenged the legality of the Earth Ultimatum under 17 different imperial statutes. They questioned the jurisdiction of Thaxon's fleet under the Krell Empire's own territorial expansion laws. They filed motions, counter-motions, and appeals to courts that hadn't convened in centuries. Thaxon roared. "Can't," his chief legal advisor said weakly. "Not until the hearings are complete. It's imperial law." The advisor reviewed the filings, his expression growing more horrified by the second. Based on the complexity of these cases, and the cross-references, and the appeals process, Patricia Goldstein smiled serenely. Of course, we're happy to settle out of court. Thus began the most unusual negotiation in galactic history. For 3 weeks, the lawyers didn't budge from the Krell ship. They filed motions during meals. They cited precedents in their sleep. They discovered contradictions in Krell law that the Empire itself hadn't noticed in millennia. One attorney specialized in environmental law managed to prove that the Krell fleet's positioning violated their own atmospheric protection statutes. Flynn coordinated from Earth, feeding the legal team information about humanity's genuine willingness to engage in peaceful trade and cultural exchange. Nala worked around the clock, translating nuances and finding new angles in the Krell legal code. On day 23, War Leader Thaxon summoned Patricia to his throne room alone. The massive alien looked exhausted, something Flynn hadn't known was possible for the Krell. Thaxon demanded. "A treaty," Patricia said simply. "Recognize Earth as a sovereign world. Establish trade relations. Open cultural exchanges. Then we continue the hearings. I should mention that 6 of my colleagues have found evidence that your grandfather's claim to the war leader position might have procedural irregularities. They're preparing to file challenges that could affect your entire lineage's legitimacy. It would tie up the imperial succession courts for—" Thaxon stared at her for a long moment. Then, impossibly, he laughed. A sound like grinding stones. "We know," Patricia said. The treaty was signed aboard the Krell flagship. Earth became the first world to join the Krell Empire not through conquest, but through negotiation. The 1,000 lawyers returned home as heroes, though they immediately began arguing about the movie rights. Flynn met Nala at the landing pad when the attorneys arrived back on Earth. The young xenolinguist looked exhausted but triumphant. "We did it," she said. "You did it," Flynn corrected. Nala paused, then laughed. "Do you think the Krell realize what they've gotten themselves into?" Flynn grinned. "That's their problem now, though I should probably warn Thaxon about our insurance companies." As humanity celebrated its first contact with alien life and its narrowly avoided extinction, the Krell Empire made a note in its official records. Humans, dangerous, do not threaten. The galaxy would never be the same,